I'm standing in the ditch of Seven Ways Plain Hillfort in Burnham Beeches, just outside of Slough. Unlike a lot of our Chiltern hillforts, this one isn't dug into the chalk, but rather onto the gravel terraces that rise above the Thames. This site has attracted human beings for a very long time, as evidenced by a couple of Paleolithic hand axes which were found very near to where I'm standing. Hunter-gatherers in the Mesolithic and early farmers in the Neolithic, about 4000 BC, would also have used the site, but it wasn't until the late Bronze Age or the early Iron Age, about 3000 years ago, when this site was enclosed with earthworks. We don't know exactly what the site was used for or precisely when it was constructed. It's clearly not on a hill, so it's what we call a plateau hill fort. It might have been used for stock enclosure. Hopefully some of those answers will emerge from an excavation that I did exactly where I'm stood in a small trench in October of 2021. The LiDAR survey flown by Beacons of the Past shows a lot of detail for the earthworks, but doesn't tell us much about what was going on inside during the Iron Age. Some of the evidence from the excavation, however, might give us a clue. Whilst there's no sign of roundhouses from the LiDAR, or even from walking over the ground, inside the ditch, at the very bottom, almost precisely where I'm stood, were some chunks of daub, which is the mud that is made out of cow dung and clay and packed onto a wattle structure to make the walls of a roundhouse. Bits and pieces of that, along with some burning, some charcoal, were found right at the very bottom of this ditch, which suggests that there may have been roundhouses inside the hill fort, destroyed at the end of the hill fort's life, and then allowed to fall into, or perhaps even raked into, the ditch. One of the most exciting things, potentially, about finding daub in the bottom of this ditch is that it was associated with charcoal. And from that charcoal, we can get a radiocarbon date. That will tell us at least when the hill fort went out of use. When the results from the radiocarbon dating come back from the lab, you can find out more about them on the Chilterns Conservation Board website. Burnham Beeches has had a lot of different phases of activity, and this site in particular. In the 13th and 14th century, just to the northwest of here, was a large moated manor, a high-status house and buildings associated with it, surrounded by earthwork enclosures flooded with water, exactly as it sounds, a moated manor. The people who lived at the moated manor would have managed this woodland for herds of deer, which they would have hunted, and also for pigs. The pigs would have fed on the acorns that dropped from the oak trees in a process called pannage. But the most important resource on this site is the woodland itself. Behind me is a tree that is hundreds of years old. From at least the 16th century onward, these trees were harvested using a technique called pollarding, in which the limbs are cut back drastically and allowed to regrow so that you get a continual reuse of timber over time. The hill fort today is a fairly quiet location, peaceful, tranquil under the beech trees. You might hear woodpeckers or spot the odd muntjac, but nearly 80 years ago on this very spot, it would have been a hive of activity. During World War II, the Ministry of Defence transformed this site. The tree cover at Burnham Beeches offered protection from aerial reconnaissance, and so thousands of vehicles were stored here in the run-up to the Normandy landings. Military buildings sprung up all over Burnham Beeches, and the hill fort was not left untouched. Behind me, you can see where the rampart has been flattened and widened to accommodate military vehicles and the construction of buildings. When the military left at the end of the war, some of the infrastructure, iron railings, fencing, barbed wire, was stripped down and dumped into a large hole. Unfortunately, that large hole is here, at what would have been the entrance to the hill fort. If you'd like to learn more about Seven Ways Plain Hillfort here at Burnham Beeches, including details of the excavation, visit the Chiltern Conservation Board website.